I absolutely love people who pay with pennies. Seriously. 4 years ago, I'm cashiering at a Wacky Mart on a register that holds all the smokes and alcohol. It's 10 p.m. and these two young men come up to the counter. They have 3 random novelty items. But it was strange and unusual to get odd items this late at night. Maybe it was for some fraternity, I don't know. It's a college town, so I get weird stuff from frats a lot. I scan the items and tell them their total is $22. Grinning at each other, they reach into their jackets and slam down 2-gallon Ziploc bags full of only pennies. I stare them in the eye, but they didn't even look back at me. Everyone else in line groaned and went to other registers. These 2 kids knew what they were doing, but they didn't know what they were in for because I prepared for this. I knew this was going to inevitably happen. I grinned with them because I was going to get paid during this. These pranksters are here for recreation. This convo occurs between me, ringleader, and a friendly coworker of mine. Me. Is this $22? Ringleader. Me. Did you count it? Ringleader. Nope. Me. Are you going to? Ringleader. Nope. Me. Is it at least $22? Ringleader. Don't know. Me. Nice. Coworker. Hey, you guys can use the self-checkout. It can take all of your coins at once. Me. Oh, don't worry about it, coworker. Ringleader. Nope, don't trust them, lady. Coworker. What? Why? Ringleader. Don't count all your change, right? Coworker. I've used them before. It really works. Me. I got this. I unpacked the Ziplocs and threw all the pennies on the counter. It was a beautiful, massive shitstorm of a mess, and I digged in it. I was Frank in a dumpster in It's Always Sunny. The 2, still averting my gaze, start chuckling as if they were taking away my dignity. They whisper to each other, Dude, oh my God. Dude, yeah. Dude, hilarious. I counted each penny, one by one. My coworker comes up to me. Coworker, guess I'll help you count this. Me. Don't worry about it. Coworker, I got your back. Me. Oh. Okay, we worked up a system where we counted 10, put them in a pile, then with 10 stacks of 10 pennies we separated them, making $1 piles. We made progress slowly but surely. Some customers came to the line, but we advised them to get to another line. Some of them looked at us confused, but when they saw the counter full of pennies, they understood. Some decided to wait, but when they realized it wasn't going to take just a few minutes, they took their leave. Another register in the liquor department opened, so it wasn't too bad for other customers. We get to about $12 until I knocked over the piles. Coworker. Neo-tensile! Me. Oops, sorry. Coworker. You know what? I think I better let you do this. Me. Ha! All right. Me. Yeah, I'm going to have to count all of this again. Ringleader. Okay. I started from 0, I counted slower than ever, and made my way back up. The duo is entirely silent. I get to about $7 when suddenly I say, Me. Drats. I lost count. I better start all over again. Ringleader. Really? Me. Oh yeah, man. Ringleader. Why? Me. I lost count, sir. I could be in trouble if my register doesn't have the right amount of cash, and I don't want to rip you off. Ringleader. It's about an hour later. My manager walks past, looks at me. I smile at him, and he looks at the counter. He walks away without a word. I eventually counted all the change, and surprisingly, they had only $18. Me. I think that this is $18. Me. I'll recount it. I fucking recounted it. Me. I think this is actually $19. Me. Seriously? You had cash? Ringleader. Needed to get rid of my change. Me. No problem. I'll just recount this again. I want to make perfectly sure that this is $19 since I counted $18 the first time. Ringleader. Are you kidding me? Man! He takes out a $20 bill straight out of his pocket and throws it at me. My coworker gives the biggest what the fuck face. Internally, I die as well because they were smart enough to have a backup plan. And the fact that he was touching his cash in his pocket the entire time kinda messed with me. I took the cash, did the transaction, gave him his change, thanked him and wished him a good night. The 2 started to put their pennies back in the Ziploc bags, and I didn't help them at all. I watched them just as they watched me. Lots of pennies dropped to the floor, but they didn't care to pick them up. It looked like their souls were sucked out of them. It was past midnight and I clocked out way past when I was supposed to. A lot of my coworkers gave me a thumbs up or told me good night. Even my manager told me, "Good job," the only 2 words he ever said to me. Went to bed at the dorms after such a great petty penny night and crashed. Strange to say, but I'd love to count pennies again. Girl assumed I was hitting on her. Gave her the same response she gave me. I just remembered this story when writing a comment on another sub. This was back in 08 or 09. I was in Quito, Ecuador. I was staying at a hostel and was there for just over 3 weeks. Less than a block away, there was an Irish pub. This pub has really good bar food that wasn't on the menu of a lot of other restaurants in the area. So because of that, it was a mixed crowd. Popular with locals and backpackers because of the proximity to the hostel. I'm at the bar with some other guests from the hostel, and we are expecting a few more to join us. Next to me is a bar stool, and on the other side of the bar stool are 2 women talking. They're obviously friends. In Spanish, I asked the woman closest to me if she is using this empty chair and is it okay if I grab it. Spanish is not my first language, but I can still speak it clearly and confidently and have grown up speaking it since I was a kid. She says to me in Spanish with a smirk on her face that she does not understand me, and she does not speak English. I ask for the chair again in Spanish while motioning to it, and she says again that she doesn't speak English. I ended up getting the chair from a high-top table that was behind us that no one was using. At this point, she turns to her friend, and I hear them mumble, "I don't know why he's talking to me, and I hear them chuckling to themselves, assuming I was hitting on her, I guess, and she rejected me? Cue Petty Revenge. Throughout the evening, I know she heard me conversing in Spanish with the bartender, so by this time she knew I definitely spoke Spanish. The napkin dispenser is directly in front of me, and she asks me in Spanish if I can hand it to her. I look at her confused, and I point to the napkin dispenser, then look back at her and lean in a little as if I didn't hear what she said. She again says that she needs napkins and if I can hand her the napkin dispenser. I look at the dispenser, and then her, and very clearly I say, "Lo siento, no hablo inglés." She gives me a shocked Pikachu face, and she turned bright red, and then I give her the cold shoulder. "Don't flatter yourself, lady. I wasn't hitting on you, I just wanted the damn bar stool. Husband who dumped me now pays me not to file for divorce." My husband of 25 years decided he wanted to split up. I unsuccessfully begged him to change his mind, and spent a lot of nights crying on the bathroom floor. One thing to note is that I carried the health insurance for the family. He is self-employed. When he wouldn't change his mind, we filed for legal separation, and he moved out. In the meantime, I got a bangin' new job that covers 100% of the health and dental insurance premiums for the entire family, with a $100 deductible. Sweet! He is still allowed to be on my insurance, since we are legally separated rather than divorced, and it costs me nothing to have him on my insurance. But I am petty as hell, so I charge him $400 a month for something that costs me $0. He, of course, is welcome to get insurance on his own in the marketplace, which would probably cost at least 2 exags that amount, for an equivalent policy. I make sure he knows it costs me nothing, nada, zip, to have him on my insurance, and that his $400 per month payment is funding my upcoming trip to Spain. If you have a legal separation, getting a divorce in my state is just a matter of filing a form and paying $60. If I did that, he couldn't be on my insurance anymore. So he is basically paying me $400 per month not to file for divorce, after not wanting to be married anymore. I love it. Neighbor won't turn his floodlights off. Some years ago, we had some new neighbors move in next door. Nice enough people, but we had a problem with them. The husband traveled a lot, and his wife was afraid of just about everything, the dark, thunderstorms, you name it. The problem was the floodlights over their garage doors. She would leave them on all night, every night, even though you couldn't see them from inside of their house. They were positioned such that they would shine into our bedroom at night. We were not able to block them effectively with our curtains. We asked them politely several times if they could turn them off at night since they served no effective purpose. They adamantly refused. I offered to pay for a timer that would control them. No way they would consider it. I thought about taking the bulbs out, shooting them out with my pellet gun, etc. The solution that I arrived at was to simply loosen them up enough that they wouldn't come on. Since they couldn't see them from inside the house, it was about 5 to 6 months before they realized that they were not working. They screwed them back in. I waited a couple of weeks and unscrewed them again. Another few months went by. Finally, one day, my neighbor asked me if I ever had any trouble with my outdoor lights. I told him yes, as a matter of fact, I did. I said that they would loosen up occasionally, and I would have to retighten them. I blamed it on vibration from the traffic on our street. He said that he had the same problem. I told him that I finally just gave up and left them off. He eventually did the same. We were happy with the final outcome and we were able to keep peace in the neighborhood. My homeless dad used me in his money scheme, so I took it all. Okay, so the homeless guy is technically my dad. My dad was only in my life actively from ages 0 to 7, and in that time gave me a shit ton of trauma. He was a hardcore alcoholic manipulator and a lot of other things I can't say. My mom, being the badass she is, left him, and for a short bit we did weekends at his place. It was a never-ending cycle of him drinking, being a pos, and then buying us over with animals and gifts. After getting several DUEs, unpaid child support, and a few child endangerment cases, he up and left to avoid going to jail. Like disappeared, left the animals locked in the house that he abandoned and shut off his phone. Every few months or so, he would randomly show up at my school drunk and crying with gifts in hand or leave notes on our door. My school literally had to implement a safety plan because my mom was scared he would take me. That stopped and I didn't hear from him for about 13 years. When I was 20, he messaged me on Facebook saying he would love to get to know me and asking if there's anything I need financially. My initial response quickly turned to anger. I was broke and really could use the money, and I mean, he owed me, right? I told him I would meet and needed money for rent. When I saw him, my stomach turned. He looked like the crazy guy you see on the side of the road begging for money. He really didn't make much sense, just talked a lot of shit about my mom, saying she was a liar and turned us against him and mumbling nonsense. Apparently his brother would no longer give him money but would wire transfer him money for me. He told his brother I needed $1,500 and told me he would take $500 and give me $1,000. His crappy burner phone ran out of minutes, so one of the calls to his brother was made from my phone. Of course he didn't have an ID or anything, so I would need to pick it up with him. When someone wires you money, they get a code, then give you the code, and voila, you get the money. My dad wouldn't give me the code until we were physically at the place to pick it up, which we planned to do the following morning. The next morning, I decided to text my uncle, since I now had his number, and ask him directly for the code. I got the code, picked up the money, and blocked my poser dad. He made sure to leave me some deranged voicemails about how big of a poser I am. He pretty much used me to get money from his brother. If he really wanted to be in my life, he would have taken the proper steps to do so and change. But he never did. Not denying what I did wasn't shitty, but also, fuck my dad. Roommates stopped contributing, so we left them nothing. This happened during my junior year of college. I lived with 5 other women. When we signed the lease on the house, we agreed to a 1-year deal. The house was off campus and unfurnished, so we needed things to make it feel like home. Prior to moving in, we all sat down and decided what we needed for the house and who was going to bring what, and also settled on a chore schedule. We also decided that we'd have a household supply fund set up, so we could buy things we all would use like toilet paper, paper towels, dish detergent, and laundry detergent. As it turns out, Danny, Ella, Francesca, and I brought most of the stuff we needed, like a couch, small dining table, dishes, silverware, drinking glasses, cookware, food storage containers, etc. Things went pretty well during fall semester. Shortly after that, however, things started to decline. Abby's boyfriend Andy basically moved in with us, and the two of them started acting like they owned the place. Left a dirty dish in the sink? They'd leave a passive-aggressive note about how rude it was to do that. Come home after the library closed at midnight? Abby and Andy went to bed at 10, and if you woke them up, there was hell to pay. Pretty soon, Brooke and her boyfriend Brad were acting in much the same way. By early February, it was clear to Danny, Ella, Fran, and me that we did not want to live with Abby and Brooke another year. The 4 of us found a different off-campus place and signed a lease. We let Abby and Brooke know, and from then on, the 2 of them, plus their boyfriends, went from partial jerks to complete jerks. They'd do things like stop the clothes washer mid-wash, take our clothes out, dump them on the floor, and start their own laundry. They'd use up all the hot water by taking super long showers. They'd write, "Return to sender" on our mail. They destroyed flowers our boyfriends sent or brought to ooze. They refused packages. They stopped contributing to the shared supply fund and stopped doing chores. About a week before Memorial Day, Ella got a call from the landlord on our new place saying the previous tenants had moved out, and we could move in early if we'd like at no charge. Danny, Ella, Fran, and I discussed it and decided to get out of our current house ASAP, but didn't tell Abby and Brooke of our plans. Memorial Day weekend rolls around and Abby, Brooke, and their boyfriends head out of town to go camping while the rest of us put our plan into action. With the help of friends, Danny, Ella, Fran, and I got all of our stuff moved out. And when I say all, I mean all. Living room furniture, dining room furniture, dishes, silverware, cookware, food storage containers, baking supplies, shower curtain, rugs, lamps, vacuum, broom, dustpan, etc. We also decided that since neither Abby nor Brooke had contributed to the shared household supply fund since March, the toilet paper, paper towels, dish detergent, laundry detergent, and so forth were ours. So we took all of that too. Abby, Brooke, and their boyfriends were shocked to return from their camping trip to an empty house. What made our petty revenge even sweeter was that on their way home from the camping trip, all four of them got food poisoning and were really, really sick. The scathing texts we got about moving out unannounced and taking all shared household goods, especially the toilet paper, priceless. Danny, Ella, Fran, and I are great friends and still get a good laugh about the situation about 12 years later. None of us have heard from Abby or Brooke since graduation. Mechanic tries to scam me, receives public embarrassment in return. I do not look like I would know a single thing about cars. 5'3" with long blonde hair, soft girly appearance, and an eternal baby face that makes me look about 15, 16 years old. I drive a rather beat-up looking 2004 Avalon. My dad and brother are both mechanics. Not my profession, but I've learned a thing or seven from them and am very comfortable working on cars. I'm only mentioning my appearance because it's pretty common for mechanics to assume that I'm an idiot about cars. A while back, I was pretty overwhelmed with life and didn't have a good space to do it, so I took my car in to get the oil changed. The place offered a free of charge, head-to-toe inspection for any repairs that might need to be made. I knew my car was fine. I had pretty recently changed the air filter and brake pads. Rotors had maybe 40,000 miles on them and were in great condition. New serpentine belt too. Literally just didn't feel like changing my oil. Relevant notes. Before I went to the shop, I actually checked my air filter and it was in fact pristine. Also, I usually call my dad while I'm working on my car so we can chat so he knows what repairs, maintenance I've done and that my car is well taken care of. After they changed my oil, the guy came back with the inspection results on a clipboard and was holding my air filter. He had this grave look on his face, like something was wrong. Mind you, this is a very busy place, and there were lots of customers in the waiting room. He told me that we needed to go over the results because my car was about to be completely broken down and also not safe to drive if I didn't get several repairs done ASAP, because these were all completely shot. The repairs. New brake pads, new rotors, new calipers, replace serpentine and drive belt, new air filter, new compressor or my AC will not work, and a couple more generic things. He showed me my air filter that was filled with dead grass, a dead wasp, some dirt, and hair. Bruh. He really scooped some bullshit off the shop floor and put it in my new air filter to try and freak me out. The total? About $1,500 worth of work. It would be more expensive anywhere else, but he was willing to give me a deal. So I immediately started buying myself time by asking some basic questions that I knew he would have to explain, so I could nod at him all wide-eyed while I came up with a good way to respond to what he was doing. What does the serpentine belt do? Is it important? Etc. I texted my dad. I'm calling in a sec just to play along. Told the guy, OMG, that's so scary, I can't believe I was driving around like that. Thank you so much for caring. I don't have the money, so let me call my dad real quick to see if he can help me out. I can't afford this. I then proceeded to enhance my dramatic performance by even working up a tear while I called my dad. The guy is standing there with me in front of all the customers. I put my phone on speaker and gave my dad a whole sob story about how I need money again. I'm so sorry, can he help me? He asked what the repairs were and how much. I said, I don't know, but it sounds really bad. He says that it's dangerous. Dad, I can't be without a car. What am I going to do? Then I asked the guy to tell my dad what the repairs were. He rattles it all off and my dad is playing his part perfectly. Oh, wow. Oh my goodness, I'm glad you caught this so she's not in danger anymore. Little did this scammer know, he was the one in danger. He hands the phone back and I drop the facade and start laughing really hard. As soon as Dad hears me, he started screaming and cackling into the phone. I said, Dad, do you hear this bullshit? Get this, he brought me my new air filter I just put in to show me how dirty it was. He pulled shit off the floor or something and rubbed it on there. Dad and I continue to crack up. The audience in the waiting room was also cracking up. Scammy McCanny was beet red and completely at a loss for words. Head down. And some stuttering was his response. I handed him my air filter and told him to vacuum it out and to make sure to let me see it before he put it back in. I sat and watched him put it back once it was clean and also watched him pull my car out to make sure he didn't do anything horrible while I wasn't looking. I might have taken it a little far, but I really hate when mechanics take advantage of people who don't know anything about cars. So this felt like a massive win. Big props to my dad for his performance and for teaching me about cars. You're CCing everyone about my supposed cock-up? Fine, I'll reply all with my response. This is a short one. We recently launched a project to a select group of beta testers. Late on a Sunday evening, I get an email from the boss, CCing everyone involved in the project, that the entire site is down. Please can I get it sorted urgently, as this makes the company look bad. Complete with screenshot of the problem. I'm really glad for the screenshot. I didn't even need to open my laptop to see what the problem was. I'm mildly peeved at the tone of the email, and I don't think including everyone plus the janitor was really necessary. So I reply, all to all, saying that the reason the boss is getting that error is because he has typed the wrong website into his browser. I get a sheepish mail from him the next day saying that no, it was actually one of the beta testers that had sent him the message about the website not working and screenshot, and he had just forwarded it, and wasn't he glad it wasn't actually a problem? Sure, buddy, very petty, but I got a kick out of it.